Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. My name is Revina Dewi Andriani. Today, I will present a systematic review entitled Reading Comprehension Challenges and on English Language Faced by Students. This article was written by Damayanti, Inawanti, Ilahude, and Marbun and published in the Scope Journal. This presentation discusses the main challenges students face in reading English text, the cause of these problems, and several recommendations for teachers and schools to improve reading comprehension. So, background. Reading is one of the most important language skills because it helps students gain information, improve vocabulary, and develop critical thinking. However, many students still struggle to understand English text. The article states around 7,750 of students show low interest in reading. This lack of interest affects their comprehension and academic achievement. Therefore, improving reading comprehension is not only important for English classes but also for students' overall learning success. So, three common reading difficulties. And this slide explains four common problems experienced by students. First, students have limited vocabulary, making it difficult to understand unfamiliar words. Second, they struggle with complex sentence structure, especially long and complicated sentences. Third, many students cannot identify the main idea or summarize what they have read. And fourth, students often have low motivation, so they read only because they are required to, not because they enjoy reading. These four problems are closely connected and influence each other. Research gap. Previous studies mainly focused on traditional textbooks and general student populations. There was less attention given to technology, assisted learning, digital reading resources in different educational contexts. Most previous studies were also short-term and conducted in Western countries. Therefore, this systematic review aims to provide a broader understanding by reviewing more recent studies from different contexts. So, the purpose of the study. The researchers had three objectives. First, to analyze studies published between 219 and 223. Second, to identify the common barriers students experience in reading comprehension. Third, they recommend effective teaching strategies that can help teachers improve student reading ability. Research methodology. This study used a systematic review method. The researchers collected 20 peer-reviewed journal articles published between 219 and 223. The articles were taken from reliable databases such as Google Scholar and Scopus. Instead of conducting experiments, the researchers compared scientists' findings from previous studies to identify common trends. Publication year distribution. These graphs show the number of publications each year. The highest number of studies was published in 222, with 6 articles. This indicates that researchers have become increasingly interested in reading comprehension issues, especially after the pandemic when the digital learning became more common. Researchers design breakdown. The reviewed article used different research methods. The large proportion, about 35%, use descriptive qualitative methods. 20% use descriptive quantitative methods, and another 20% use mixed method. These remaining students used experimental research, surveys, and classroom action research. This variety method provides a more comprehensive of understanding of reading comprehension challenges. Area context analysis. This review found that many studies were conducted in Southeast Asia and the Middle East. Indonesia contributed the largest number of studies, followed by countries such as Vietnam, Malaysia, Turkey, and Finland. These show that reading comprehension remains a significant educational issue in many different cultural contexts. 4 key challenges. The research identified 4 major challenges. The first is textbook limitation. The second is low student motivation. The third is poor vocabulary mastery. The fourth is low reading pace. These 4 issues consistently appeared across many of the reviewed studies, showing that there are common problems faced by English learners. Textbook limitation. Many textbooks focus only on answering comprehension questions without encouraging students to think critically. In addition, the reading materials are often not diverse or interactive. As a result, students become passive readers instead of active thinkers. Teachers should, teachers should therefore complement textbook with authentic materials such as articles, stories, videos, and online resources. Motivation. Motivation plays an important role in success reading. Students who are interested in reading usually understand text more effectively. However, many students lose motivation because reading activities are repetitive and uninteresting. The article suggests using graphic organizers, group discussion, games, and interactive learning activities to increase study engagement. Next is poor vocabulary. Vocabulary is the foundation of reading comprehension. Students with limited vocabulary often depend too much on dictionaries. Some students simply skip unfamiliar words, making it difficult to understand the whole text. Therefore, teachers should explicitly teach vocabulary before reading and provide repeated exposure to new words in different contexts. And next is slow reading pace. Slow reading fluency make it difficult for students to complete classroom texts. Students spend too much time decoding words instead of understanding the message. They also struggle to identify the main idea and make correct inference. Regular reading practice and fluency exercises can gradually improve reading speed and comprehension. Next is implications for a teacher. The article recommends several teaching strategies. Teachers should use interactive activity instead of relying on lectures. Multimedia resources such as video and digital text can make learning more interesting. Teacher should also provide explicit vocabulary instruction, encourage active reading strategies, and differentiate instruction based on students' needs, and continuously provide constructive feedback. Next is implication for schools. Schools also play an important role. First, schools should provide high quality and diverse reading materials. Second, schools should integrate technology into reading instruction. And finally, schools should develop intervention program for students who experience reading difficulties. These efforts require collaboration among teachers, school leaders, and parents. Next is limitation of the review. Although this review provides valuable readings, it is also has several limitations. The reviewed articles only covered publication from 219 to 223. Most studies focused on Indonesia, making the finding less generalizable. In addition, only peer-reviewed journal articles were included. Next is future research direction. The researchers suggest several directions for future studies. Future research should investigate the use of artificial intelligence and digital learning platforms. Researchers should also examine the differentiate reading strategies, conduct longitudinal studies, and explore the influence of different cultural contexts on reading comprehension. So, in conclusion, reading comprehension remains one of the biggest challenges in English language learning. The four main problems identified are textbook limitation, low motivation, poor vocabulary, and slow reading pace. Improving reading comprehension requires cooperation between teacher, school, researchers, and students. By applying effective teaching strategies and utilizing technology, students can become more confident and successful readers. And thank you so much for your attention. I would be happy to say goodbye. Bye bye.